Now, the challenge that you have with Redraw is that today that your limit is at 500,000, but every time your repayment falls due on that home loan, that limit is reducing down by the amount of principal that's incorporated in your repayment. So if your repayment is $2,500 and $2,000 of that is paying interest and $500 of that is paying principal, that $500 is coming down off the limit of the loan. Now, as that limit starts to reduce, inevitably what happens is that starts to eat into your redraw. So the redraw is a diminishing value because in 30 years time, the limit has to be at zero, or else you can redraw 500,000 at any, or you can redraw them up to 500,000 at any given time. And the bank don't want that. So the limit is consistently reducing, which inevitably reduces your redraw facility. So if you didn't touch that 20,000 for 10 or 15 years, essentially that 20,000 is going to diminish over that period of time, and you're not going to be able to reduce or redraw that full 20,000. So that's the significant difference in the redraw versus in the offset facility. Okay? Because if you put that 20,000 into an offset facility, that is going to reduce the amount of interest by 20,000 because it's an account essentially that sits alongside your home loan. So in this example of the offset, you've got a home loan of 500,000 and you've got an offset account that has a BSB and account number that sits alongside it. And that 20,000 that's in your offset account is reducing the interest down by that 20,000. Okay. So if you then take out the 20,000 out of your offset facility, then you're now paying interest on the full 500,000. So the difference being in this scenario though is that at no time will that 20,000 diminish. It will always be there. Whereas the 20,000 in the redraw is diminishing over time. The other thing I'll always say is that during COVID, when people had an amount of money sitting in the redraw, the banks are able to control that and they can actually close that redraw off at any time as well. So that's something I always let borrowers remind them of, that it can be taken away from you at any time, versus the offset facility, it always sits there for you. Offset account as well, you generally get a debit card and you can do all your online banking via the offset facility as well.